Do you know what? I just love playing as a strong female role in a video game. No, not like that. No, you, dude, no, come on, like, you, no. Shit. Got it. That's what I'm talking about. Hello and welcome back to 2-Bit Gaming, and it's Will today. Now today's video is going to be something a little bit different. No news, no top 10s. What I'm going to go through with you guys today is my personal experience of playing video games, but the way that females have been represented in video games over the years. First off, I'm not going to go into any political kind of things. I'm not going to try and upset anybody. This is purely how I have found playing video games over the past 20 odd years, how I feel the representation of women has changed, and in my opinion, for the better. So let's start off at the beginning, I suppose. When I first started playing video games, if I'm honest, women weren't represented enough, and certainly not in a way that I would choose them as a character to play as terrible as that sounds, but you got to think as well as an 8-year-old kid. And let's face it, girls were gross, so that was not going to happen. If there was a lady or a guy to choose from, let's say a female character or a big hulking warrior type bloke, I'd be going for the warrior all the way. It wasn't until, I'd say I was probably about 10, 11, and first really playing any female character in a game was Ms. Pac-Man, if I'm being honest. And she is basically Pac-Man with a bow. We all know that. But that was really my first real opportunity. My second opportunity, not that I knew it at the time, was playing Metroid Prime. Loving that game, absolutely loving it. It wasn't actually my copy, but I got to play it quite a bit. And eventually completing it, and Samus taking that helmet off and realising Samus Aran is a girl. I've been playing as a girl all this time and been loving it. And I think that's really when it clicked, not knowingly at that age, but it did click that it doesn't matter. You can be a guy, you can be a girl, you can be a space soldier, you can be whatever you want to be. And that for me was really when I guess I started to see things a little bit differently in terms of women in video games. From that, I mean, back in the day, there weren't that many, I would say, correct me if I'm wrong, people, but I didn't feel there were that many females represented particularly well, shall we say, in video games. I've already mentioned Ms. Pac-Man, which was great. She was fine, she was fun, and that was that. But moving on into kind of the mid to late 90s, playing a lot of sort of fighting games and things like Bloody Roar, Soul Calibur, Cardinal Sin, if anybody remembers Cardinal Sin. I'm trying to think of other ones. Even Peach in Mario or Mario Kart. It wasn't somebody who I guess you'd say related to, and I'm not saying that because they're female and I'm male. It just wasn't somebody that drew me to them. They weren't characters that I wanted to play as in these fighting games. I didn't want to play as the women. They were heavily sexualized, we know that. I mean, look at the boobs on it, seriously. Like, we know why guys were playing these games. I think once again, after seeing Samus, it was then quite a while until I actually played a game or had a game for myself where I would pick a female character. And that once again was not because there were other characters I could choose from, it was the only character I could pick. And that was Lara Croft. That was Tomb Raider. And what a game. I'd never played a 3D game quite to that level. And it didn't matter. It did not matter to me, once again, that she was female. Obviously, a couple of years down the line, you know, we all wanted to get that ending where Lara's in the shower and you don't actually see anything, but we all thought you saw something. And yeah, okay, there was that teenage boy part of me, but at the same time, she was badass. She was shooting guns. She was, firing up the place. Just an awesome game. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter. Then it just kind of escalated. I don't know whether it was the way the gaming world moved forwards or whether it was just the games that I was playing at the time, but I kind of steered clear of fighting games, if I'm being honest, apart from Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and for me, Chun-Li, once again, a character who I played as a lot because I loved her. I loved her fighting style. I loved that she had this kind of demeanor of, look at me, oh, I'm this cute Japanese girl. No, she wasn't. She was badass. She would lure you in with her looks and she would beat the crap out of you. You know, that for me, yes. And as I say, it just kind of escalated from there, you know, moving on. Characters such as Joanna Dark from Perfect Dark. It was, you know, recently we did a throwback, a whole video on Perfect Dark. And Joanna Dark, I just saw her as a better James Bond, you know, and she was. Once again, I am not saying, you know, one sex is better than the other, but I am saying I prefer Joanna Dark to James Bond. She was just cooler. She had edge, she had style. And I loved it. I loved playing as her as a character. I loved how her story unfolded. To a lesser extent, or to a different extent, I suppose I should say, even Princess Zelda, who is in my favourite gaming franchise. You know, Zelda is through and through my favourite of all time. And yes, she is a princess at heart, but we all know, once again, Zelda has more to her. Not only the backstory, and we're talking thousands of years of backstory here, people, but the fact that she is hard, she is a badass, she fights for what's right in one way or another, you know, and it's, I love the way that it has now changed, you know, there isn't, I found towards the end of the 90s and coming into the noughties, the reason why I really didn't want to play as a lot of female characters was just because there was nothing to them. They were these vapid, bouncing oh, there they are. There they are again. Yeah. You see what I mean? And that's what it was. And don't get me wrong, once again, you know, the 14, 15, 16-year-old boy, that was okay. That was fine. But I didn't want to play the games. They didn't make me want to play them. As I kind of got into gaming more and more, I fell into the Resident Evil franchise, as a lot of people did. Resident Evil 2 being the big one for me then and now. And every lead female character in that game, Ada Wong, Claire Redfield, Jill Valentine, some of the best characters. Yeah, it's a little bit cheesy if you go back and play Resident Evil 2, you know, the voice acting and stuff, but I loved them. And actually saying that, Resident Evil 2, obviously you had the choice. Would you play as Claire? Would you play as Chris? Not Chris. No, not Chris. Leon. And first time when I had that game, it was mine and I owned a copy. I played as Claire. She was my first character. And my go-to. Even to this day, Claire is my go-to. Nothing wrong with Leon, once again. I think Leon is a great character, but there was something about her. She was cool. I wanted to play as her. Other games, I'm trying to think of examples. Tifa Lockhart from Final Fantasy VII, once again. So many guys had a crush on her, I mean. Yeah. But, you know, once again, a cool ass character. Ellie from The Last of Us. You know, what a game, what a story. And without Ellie in it, would it have been the same? Maybe not. So well done. One of the best, in my mind, one of the best games of this generation. And Ellie makes it for me. And saying that, with girls of that kind of age, that kind of, you know, coming into their teens, that sort of age, Clementine. If you haven't played the Telltale Walking Dead's Clementine, the young girl in that, is an awesome character. You know, you see her story escalate from a scared little girl to this strong, I guess you'd say, woman in a way. Her mind is, you know, growing up in that environment and that world that she's now had to adapt to. Just seeing that story unfold in front of your eyes and playing as her is just gripping. It really is. Most recently for me, I feel the characters that have really gripped me, female characters, is Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn. I mean, I can't see anybody else playing as anybody else as a lead role rather than, you know, than Aloy. And I'm hoping, God hoping, that the next gen of consoles, there will be an X Horizon Zero Dawn without the hype, but with all that fantastic gameplay. And who knows? She might be the one once again. They might go with somebody else, but for me, she is an awesome, awesome character. Assassin's Creed obviously have gone down the route with Odyssey. They've got a female lead, Bayonetta. Now for me, Bayonetta has encapsulated that kind of feeling I was talking about in my teens. You know the feeling? Yep. And they've taken that sex appeal, they've thrown a bit of comedy in, but they've smashed out an awesome game with a woman who is likeable, not only I feel to women, but to men. Yes, she's attractive. Let's not get things confused. Of course she is, and she's a very sexy lady. But she's cool. That is the thing. She is cool. She's a likable character who I want to play as. You know, I love the Bayonetta series, and I own all of them. And yeah, I didn't know what I wanted to make this video really. You know, I didn't want to make it some big thing about pro ladies in video games. I don't know enough about that, if I'm honest. I also certainly wasn't going to go through the history of women in video games because I was bound to get something wrong. I normally do get things wrong, if I'm being honest. I'm not the brightest pencil in the pencil case. But I wanted to put it out there. It's something interesting that I've been thinking about for a while. And that is, once again, it's just my take and my opinion. As I say, as a lad growing up, I would never have chosen a woman to play as in a game. Now there are so many games when I just can't see the game being played in any other way, but either with a female character or with a female lead. I think the way the industry has moved on, I think is great. And yes, there are some games which maybe aren't quite there yet, but there has certainly been leaps and bounds made, and I just think it's an amazing thing. And I think it's great the fact that not only video game characters but women can feel comfortable enough to play games, you know, and to play as these lead women and think, yeah, you know, I that's me. I would be exactly like that, you know. And once again, you know, I don't want to make this like a crazy political kind of video, but I think it's great the fact that it was always seen as a nerdy, dorkish thing to play video games, which, hell, let's face it, it still is. And I love the fact that we still have that in our community. But it was always a guy's thing. It was always a boys' thing. Boys playing together, not anymore. And it doesn't have to be fighting games. It doesn't have to be drama or, you know, that kind of thing. Look at all the fighting games. Look at all the first-person shooters now where you've got women blasting the crap out of guys, and, you know, more power to them. So yeah, that's it really, guys. I just wanted to get that out there. I really, really hoped you kind of got something out of this. I certainly have. I'm glad I got it out there because it's something that's been there and playing on my mind, and I haven't known really how to get this out to you guys, but that is it. So enjoy. I hope you have. And we will see you next time.
Thank you very much for watching the video. We really do hope you enjoyed yourselves. If you have done, then please consider subscribing to the channel and be sure to click that like button.
Please do leave us some comments. We love hearing back from you. So good or bad, let us know.
And as always, guys and girls, we will see you on the next video. Bye-bye.